Hi, and welcome to Horror Recapped. Today we take a look at the 2010 Finnish fantasy action horror film titled Rare Exports: A Christmas Tale. Watch out, spoilers ahead. This movie begins with just 24 days to Christmas. The leader of a mining team, Mr. Green, explains to his boss, Riley, that his men surprisingly found sawdust while drilling into a mountain of ice in Korvatunturi, Finland. Riley explains that in previous years, people used sawdust to store valuable items and urges the mining team to drill deeper into the mountain, as he believes that the mountain was a massive burial ground. He gives a speech to the men, giving them 24 days to completely drill the mountain. Two young boys, Pietari and Juuso, who trespassed into the site by cutting open a protective fence, watch from a distance while eavesdropping. They eventually leave at the end of Riley's speech and make their way back home. During their walk, they have a conversation about Santa Claus, with Juuso making fun of Pietari for thinking he exists. On getting home, Pietari reads some books about Santa, which depicts him as a demonic creature who cruelly punishes naughty children. This leaves Pietari disturbed and frightened as he stares towards the mountain. It is now one day till Christmas. Pietari's dad, Rauno, who is a local hunter and butcher, sets a trap using a pig head as bait to capture any wolves that may want to prey on reindeer. He then proceeds to wake up Pietari, and they both make their way to meet other hunters who plan on rounding up reindeer. They wait patiently for a herd of reindeer to arrive, but only spot two skinny ones. Surprised by this, they make their way to search for more reindeer, but come across a herd of slaughtered reindeer just beside the drill site's hole-ridden fence. They inspect the fence and deduce that a pack of wolves must have made their way to the reindeer using the hole. Pietari, who is observing at a distance alongside Juuso, feels guilty as they were the ones who opened the hole, but Juuso quickly threatens him with a flogging if he tells anyone what they did. Meanwhile, Rauno and the other men calculate the number of carcasses and estimate the amount of money lost to be about $85,000. They are angered by this and blame the miners, as they believe their explosions drove the wolves away from the mountain. They head to the site to seek compensation but find nobody there. They search an office in the site and deduce that the miners moved out in a hurry. Finding no one there, they all head back home, with Juuso hanging out in Pietari's room. There, Pietari shows Juuso the books he read on Santa, explaining how mainstream Santa was a hoax and that the real Santa was a horned, violent creature. He goes on to explain that he believes the miners were trying to find the real Santa buried in the mountains, as folklore has it that the Sami people, an ancient Finnish tribe, buried him there. Juuso laughs in his face upon hearing the story, but Pietari remains confident in his theory. Later that night, an agitated Mr. Green talks to Riley via a walkie-talkie and explains to him that the thing they discovered had a pulse. Riley tries to calm him down and instructs him to transport the cargo as scheduled. However, they are interrupted when Green hears his men screaming. He turns around to see the source of the noise and spots a creature standing in the distance. The next morning, Pietari, while taking a piss, raises an alarm when he discovers that his dad's bait has been taken. Rauno comes outside to inspect the bait, expecting to see some kind of bird as there were feathers in the trap, but is shocked to see a human instead. He sends Pietari inside and takes the body to his butchering store while accompanied by a friend named Piperinen. There, he searches the body and finds an ID card which reveals that the man is in fact Mr. Green. Rauno tries butchering him to destroy any evidence of his involvement in his death, but is astonished when the body moves. He checks and confirms that Mr. Green is indeed alive, but is shortly interrupted when he notices Pietari spying on them through the window. Rauno leaves Piperinen with Green as he chases after Pietari. He sees Pietari entering a police car and ends up meeting him back at home. There, he has a chat with the sheriff, who informs him that the town has lodged several complaints with multiple people reporting stolen ovens and radiators, commenting that it would be a cold Christmas. Meanwhile, Pietari heads to Juuso's room and finds a strange-looking doll. He reports to his dad and the sheriff that Juuso has been kidnapped, but they all ignore him, saying that he probably just snuck out. Afterward, Rauno heads back to the butchering store with Emo, Yuso's dad, where they meet Piperinen outside the store. He warns them not to enter the store, saying that the creature isn't human because it almost bit his ear off. They, however, ignore him and go in anyway. They try communicating with Green but make no progress with the creature completely ignoring them. However, when Pietari walks into the store, the creature reacts and stares at him. Rauno questions Pietari, asking if he knows the man, with Pietari answering that he was the original Santa. Soon after, they hear a voice from a walkie-talkie that was in Green's jacket. They eventually answer it and hear Riley's voice asking Green for the cargo, Santa Claus. The men, on hearing this, then decide to sell Green to Riley for $85,000, which would be enough money to clear their debt. They arrange a meeting with Riley for the exchange and soon drive out to meet him. There, Riley asks to see the cargo first before making payment. The men bring out Green, contained in a cage for Riley to see. Riley is in awe at Green's transformation but comments that he isn't Santa but merely an elf, that is, one of Santa's helpers. Soon after, a blizzard begins, with strange figures watching and approaching them from a distance. Riley asks the men to keep their guns down, as Santa is coming and he would punish those who are naughty. The confused men are hesitant and look around in fear. Suddenly, an axe is thrown from nowhere and hits Riley on the head, killing him instantly. The men run into a warehouse where they find Pietari staring at a peculiar ice structure which he called Santa's Nest. They find that the town's missing ovens were all there and were being used to try to defrost the structure which they believed contained the real Santa. They also find the town's children contained in sack bags. Their discovery is, however, interrupted by the elves banging on the door. Pietari explains that the elves are trying to make their way inside because of the children and suggests that they evacuate the kids to somewhere else. This prompts Piperinen to make his way outside. Using gingerbread to distract the elves, he makes it to a helicopter left behind by Riley. He uses this to carry the children contained in a net away from the warehouse via the roof. As Pietari predicted, the elves followed the children as the helicopter flew away. Piperinen, following Pietari's instruction, flies to the reindeer electric pen to trap the elves. However, on reaching there, they find that the pen's doors were unopened. Seeing this, Pietari comes down from the helicopter to open the gates. He opens the gates and the elves flock in. They move closer to him but suddenly stop when Rauno and Emo, who are still in the warehouse, blow up Santa's nest with a ton of dynamite, thereby killing the real Santa. The elves then become motionless and disoriented. Rauno and Emo drive to the pen, meeting Pietari, Piperinen, and Yuso. There, Pietari suggests they sell the elves as Santa, asking Yuso how much they'd cost. He takes a moment to think and then estimates them to be worth 16.8 million. The group smiles as they stare at the elves in the pen. A couple of days later, they begin rehabilitating the elves by showering them, after which they train them to be Santa Claus, teaching them how to give presents to children. Finally, they are then dressed in a traditional Santa outfit. The movie ends with the elves being packaged in wooden boxes labeled Rare Exports as they send them off to be sold. And that's the end of this very strange Christmas tale. Let's know your thoughts about it in the comments section. If you would like to look into other movies with us, make sure you click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.